everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox. Today, we're going to unpack another episode of the journey of self-discovery, and we're going to talk about the subject of authenticity, being our true authentic self. Because the whole idea of this show, the whole idea of this journey, is to take us to a place where we become our true authentic self. But what we're going to learn is that authenticity doesn't only has to do with uh, being honest with yourself, or getting to know your true self, or being true to yourself, and so forth. All of that is true. But we need to break it down so that we can have a clearer understanding and to really focus on the different areas of our lives. Now, authenticity, is mental, emotional, and physical. I have really not paid attention to the physical part of authenticity simply because it's just something I hadn't focused on, or at least put language to it, because a lot of these things, now that I kind of backtrack a little bit, I realized that a lot of these experiences I have had, I simply had not given it a language. So what is happening to me today is that I am retracting. I'm going back and I'm putting language to the experiences that I have had. This whole journey of self-discovery, I had my journey started 16 years ago. I didn't call it a journey of self-discovery simply because that wasn't trending. But now I have a better understanding that it has to do with becoming consciously aware of who you are. And that is a fantastic place to be, because when you know who you are, you can then navigate through life with more confidence and assertiveness and all that. And that is what I wish for you that are going through this journey of self-discovery. I am telling you to become your true authentic self. It's the greatest experience you will have. You know why? Because it brings you into a place of truth. You will come to a place where you know things, not believe things. You will know things about yourself, and you will know things about, your environment, your surroundings. You will be so intentional in the things that you do, so purposeful, and paying attention in a different type of way. And you'll come into your truth, and that is the truth that will set you free. A lot of people say to me, you're so bold in what you share and what you do and so forth. And, I'm thinking it's not really boldness. Well, I've got an element of boldness, but it is freedom. I feel free to be my true self. I am not concerned about what people think about me, what people say about me. Those are no longer my concern. When we grow, as we grow into our true selves, those things become irrelevant, because you realize that not everyone is going to like you. Not everyone is going to like the way you look. Not everyone is going to like the way you speak. Not everyone is going to like the things that you are passionate about. So the most important thing, or the only important thing really, is that you like yourself, and that you come to that place. Of course, not only do you love yourself, but you like yourself, and you enjoy being with yourself, and you're okay with that. But once you come to that place of authenticity, mental, emotional, and physical, then it's that's just a place to be. Now, um, understand this: that life does not peak. We don't reach to a peak. We evolve. We are constantly evolving, and you never reach to that place. Never allow yourself to think that you have reached to that place. Everywhere I go, I set myself up to explore. I keep an open mind. I remain curious. I want to know about people. When I talk to someone, I become so intentional. I listen. I want to hear about them. because people always have something to share that you can learn from, or learn about. So I set myself up that way. I want to know. I want to know uh, everything. And experiences for me is something that I value a lot. So that is where I am. Now, we talked a lot about evolving and getting to know yourself uh, from a cellular level, mentally, and so forth. Let's talk about the physical because we don't really address that part of us. And it seems like we navigate through life not really knowing, not really understanding, not really yielding to the power we have within. We don't think about that. Most people don't think about it. I simply because I think in terms of health, and I want things to work right in my body. I want it to work in its natural form. I and this is just a personal thing. I want to stay away from uh any type of medicinal type of substance, medication and things of that nature. And fortunately, I am not. I'm not taking any kind of medication, and that's just because I took myself there just because of by personal choice. So being physically authentic is allowing your body to be aligned naturally. Your authenticity is the highest frequency that you will have. Authenticity in your body, in your mind, and in your emotions. It's the highest frequency. And when you reach there, you become almost unbothered, and you set yourself up where you remain consciously aware, and you know that you are aware. So when something comes upon you, or presents itself in your life, you have the emotional intelligence to handle it, and you have the ability to think critically so that you can resolve whatever issue it is that is upon you. And once you know that, it gives you a confidence, it gives you an assertiveness, a sense of assertiveness, to know that you can. Why? Because you're going to think, I have the ability, I have the skill, I have the knowledge, I have the understanding, I have the know how. You're going to begin to trust yourself. And that's the place you want to be. That is the place you want to be. I've got to say this. For those of you that, share that you have this conflict between your religious doctrine and the whole issue of wanting to walk in this place of authenticity, there can be a conflict. Why? Because if you're one of those people, and I used to be that, because I was religious for many years, and I used to say, God, without you, I am nothing. I am nothing without you. I can do nothing without you. I am nothing. I used to say that. Not only did I say that, I used to believe that. I used to believe that, and I subscribed to that mindset for years. And that's what I believe. Now, is that what I knew? No, because when I was transformed from my religious background to coming into this place of independent thinking, independent mind, not only did I realize that this is really the way it's supposed to be, it should be, but then that I had some control over my life, my thinking, my emotions, and even my body, my physical attributes, my physical health. But if you think, without you, God, I can do nothing, then of course, yeah, it will be conflicting. Why? Because you will be, see, now, I was listening to this woman talk about, she was talking about uh, this whole concept of healing oneself. And she shared her own story. She talks a lot about the same thing: frequency, vibration, energy, and so forth, because everything is energy. And once you understand how it works, and once you get to know how it works, then you will subscribe to it and see it work in your life. And she shared that she had a baby, and a lot of stuff malfunctioned physically in her. She had grave complication that left her paralyzed, and she had to be spoon fed. She had to be taken care of. All, her hygiene had to be taken care of by someone else. Someone else taking her to the bathroom, and all of that. And but this person is really advanced in their understanding of how this uh, authenticity uh, worked. How she was advanced in how the energy within her would work, so that she can become her authentic self, not only mentally but also physically. That her body would come into alignment with the energy that she has in her mind and with her vibration. She had that understanding. That's something that's kind of new to me. And she said that she created a mindset. She created a mindset uh, in her mind. She started talking to herself, and she started seeing herself with this being able to walk again, being able to bathe herself and take herself to the bathroom, and to talk and so forth. She created it, but in her mind, it wasn't something that was going to happen. She said in her mind, it was already done. It was already done because one of the things that motivated her the most is because she just had a baby, and she did not want anyone to take care of her baby but her. You know how that is as a mother. And she put everything, every thought, every frequency, energy, all of her vibrational frequencies, she deposited in her mindset, and she fed her mind and reprogrammed. She shared that she did not want any kind of medical intervention because she knew that whatever medical intervention would have been to treat the symptoms and to keep her comfortable. That wasn't her objective. Her objective was to walk again and being able to self care and to take care of her newborn baby. Well, after I don't know what length of time, she started gaining motion, and she started walking. And eventually, I mean, to hear and to see her now, you would not really uh, think that she went through that kind of physical challenge because, not only is she beautiful, but she looks good and speaks good and so forth. And it would be hard to believe that she really went through that. But I believe her because there's no reason she would have to lie. I don't, it's not a situation where, they're asking for money or something like that. No, no, no. They were just sharing it as part of um, talking about this place of authenticity. Her thing is about the feminine energy and so forth. Anyway, the point is we have the ability. We have the ability to align, bring our bodies into alignment with nature, with its natural self, with its natural being, wherein everything functions as it should. Your kidneys, your liver, your lymph nodes, your bowel, colon, your heart, everything, your lungs. We have the ability to bring everything into alignment. Now, I know that sometimes, if you have really wrecked your your body over a number of years, comes, in your adult life, you start seeing symptoms of ailments, things that show up. But even if that happens, the body is so forgiving. The body has the ability to heal itself. Once you come to the understanding of what you need to do, fasting, fasting is, look, a lot of people think that we are healed because of our nutritional intake and so forth. Lots of fruits. Fruits is very healing because it keeps the body alkalized, more so than acidic. Acidic breeds, bad cells. When it's alkalized, that's where regeneration happens. And so if you allow your body to heal by good nutrition, and that's good, but when you fast, just like the animals, you know, is giving your body a rest. You're not going to starve to death, but you give your body a rest so that the energy that you would use to digest, the energy is what is used to regenerate the cells in your body. And it doesn't matter what the situation is, it does work. The body is created to regenerate itself. Now, I was sharing with someone else, we are at different levels. And I remember, and now I know that. But when a couple of years ago, I broke my ankle, shattered it, pieces. I was roller skating. And now, if I knew then what I know now, the question I asked myself, would I allow myself to heal that way? Now, I could have had them put a cast on my foot, leg, foot, because it came all the way up to my knee. It was just shattered. And one of those freak accidents, I know how to roller skate, but it was one of those freak accidents that happened on the ring, the skating ring. And what would I have done if I knew what I know now? And it's hard to say because that wasn't where I was. But I would have gone to the orthopedic surgeon, just like I did. I got like the best orthopedic surgeon, and they performed surgery. And he said, you will be walking in, no. He said, you will be skating. You'll be able to skate again in 8 weeks. And he was absolutely correct. I did everything he said. And, he did the surgery. And really, at that point, I was in so much pain, and I was not even sure that I would have been able to walk again because, I would see people walking, and that's one of the things that I like. I love to walk. And I just wondered if I would. And, 8 weeks, well, less than 8 weeks, I was already kind of walking. But then to be able to put the weight on the leg, it took about, 6, 7, 8 weeks. And that was good. So you have to know where you're at. You have to know, and it all depends on the things that you're dealing with. But you see, what happens is that we become so conditioned, so programmed to accept the things that that comes upon us. People that have allergies, to them, it's just something that they live with. And they would say, well, the pollen is high, so and so, and then they have allergic reaction and so forth. And to them, because it's not something detrimental, like I don't think, people get so complacent, and you don't think that you can get rid of that. People would say things like, and another thing, when you own whatever it is, when you own your disease, when you own when you own it, then there is really no place for healing because you have owned it. People that say, I have hypertension or hypoglycemia or I have diabetes. People say things like, I have what do you call it? Migraines. People own those ailments, and they take themselves into a place of comfort. That's just the way it is. I've heard people say, oh, I have a bad knee. I have my ankle is weak. I have a weak ankle. I have plantar fasciitis. People own it. When you own it, then it's not going to work for you. If you own it, it's not going to work for you because you have owned it and you have become complacent. We learn to live with it. Why? Because we are programmed. We are conditioned. We are so programmed in so many ways that we don't even realize that we have normalized certain behaviors. I am always doing kind of a search, kind of an inventory to see, like, what am I doing that is what am I doing that's repetitive? What am I doing that doesn't make any sense? Because even, I spoke about this whole deconstruction effort. In our journey, we go through a process of deconstructing from things that no longer serves us, and not only religious indoctrination, but also just things in society that no longer serves us. Now, if you want to continue in with whatever, that's your choice. It's like this girl was talking about, she's getting ready to do a milestone party. She's getting a milestone birthday, and she's getting all excited, and she is saying that she's got to do this and do that, and in her mind she says, I have to do a big party. I have all my friends and so forth. Why? We are programmed that way. But I know with me, when I reach a milestone, I know a few years ago when one of my milestone birthdays, I had said to my husband, I said, and this was a while back, I said, on that birthday, and we call it a milestone. It's like, what the hell is a milestone? Every year that passes is a day. It reminds you of your birthday, because you've only had one birthday, and that's the day you were born. Everything else is just a reminder that the years are advancing and so forth. So I had said to my husband that on that milestone birthday, that I want to wake up in Madrid, Spain. So we were all excited, planning that from like 6 months earlier and so forth. Then my brother-in-law got sick, and he passed away the month before my birthday. And, it was a very sad time for us, because, that he was relatively young. And so it was sad. So we cancel everything. We cancel everything because we were grieving, and it just seems like that's not something that you would do. You've had a death in the family, and then the next month you're going to go off having fun and so forth. So we canceled it, and then about 2 weeks before, about 3 weeks before my birthday, I said to my husband, because I got to thinking, and I said to my husband, I said, I don't, I said, um, referring to my brother-in-law, I said, he's passed, he's dead. And I said, you know what, this is the only time that I'm going to have this experience, this time, this birthday, this milestone. So I said, I believe we should go. And he gave it some thought, and he said, you know what, I think you're right. I said, because we need to celebrate life, and not, he's dead. And he said, you're right. So we booked everything. We booked the flights, we booked the hotel, we did everything, and we went. Not only did we go to Spain, but we had a fantastic time. We made ourselves enjoy the time there. So that was kind of out of sort, because generally when you have that, especially that close family member, I was also close to my brother-in-law. And when you have that kind of situation, you just kind of, become solemn, and you grieve for a while. And we were going to do that. Why? Because that's the way we were programmed. That's the way we were conditioned. That's what society says you must do. Social construct says that's what you must do. You kind of grieve, and you become solemn and so forth. But anyway, we went off, and we had a great time. So things like that, I'm always looking for things where I can just get rid of, and create a new mindset, so that I can, not only am I challenging tradition, I'm not afraid to challenge tradition, conventional norms, and just social construct, status quo, cliches, challenging all of that. Why? Because I want new, and I want to get into that place where I can be myself, be my true, authentic self. And I'm not going to say that it's easy, simply because it sets you apart, and people kind of sometimes wonder, like, what's with her? But then for you, it sets you free. Why? Because it becomes your truth, and that's the truth that sets you free. When people are hung up on things and all, bent out of shape, then you are free. Someone asked me the other day, they were talking about relationships. And I said something like, I said, oh, they said, what makes your relationship so fresh? It seems like you guys really have a good time, and you do stuff, and you're always happy and so forth. And I said, well, I said, oh, they said, what's the secret? So I said, there's no secret. I said, keep people out of your relationship. Make sure you don't bring anybody into your relationship. I don't care if it's mom, dad, friend, best friend, aunt, uncle. Don't let anyone get between you. Become a strong unit, a strong partnership. And I said, and that includes God. Keep God out of your relationship. Of course, that was offensive to, well, I shouldn't say offensive. It just raised some eyebrows. People are like, what? Like, what are you, like, what are you, that's what you expect to have in your, well, this is how I see it. So our relationship, my husband and is established not on love at all. Never was. From the very beginning, it was established on respect. And that is something I share that over and over. It's established on respect. I respect him, he respects me. And that is set up. Now, when you respect someone, you don't want to hurt them, you don't want to offend them, you don't want to, no. Then, out of that respect, love is born. Out of the respect that we have for each other, love is born. And so you love each other, but first of all, you respect someone, and that works for us. Now, when I say respect, it doesn't mean we're rigid. No, that means if I am out on my own or you're out, we're going to talk good and admirably about each other. We're going to say the truth, our true feelings about each other. Why? Because it's somebody whom you respect. Now, when we are home, of course, we cut up, we have fun, we have, and in a moment of passion, when you're making love, you can get passionate and be expressive. And the thing about it is you can be expressive without feeling any kind of way, like you're being judged. The person is authentic. They are expressing your authentic self. You are being expressive, and even if you say something that's out there, it's not out of disrespect, it's out of passion. So you have to understand how that works. Respect is how I regard you, and so forth. But when you are on your own, then you are loose enough to where you have fun, you enjoy yourself, and you cut up, and you have your own personal things, secrets between it. So that is one thing. Now, that's between us. Again, respect first, and then out of the respect, love is born, comes out of the respect that we have for each other. Now, when I say keep God out of the relationship, the reason I said to keep God out of relationship is because people that have God in relationship, their relationship is basically performative and pretend. And if you have to say, what does the word says, then you're going to behave according to the word. You're going to perform according to the word. You're going to act according to scripture. Because people say, what does scripture says, or what does God says, or what does the word says, or what? And so you are performing. Now, there's a scripture that says God hates divorce, and the only thing that the only time you can divorce is when there is infidelity. So what if there is verbal abuse? Do you stay in the relationship? Excuse me, I don't, this is, anyway. What if there is verbal abuse? Mind you, there can be physical abuse. Do you stay in the relationship because the word says God hates divorce? Absolutely not. Well, I mean, someone else may, but that doesn't even compute in my mind. To stay in a relationship where there's abuse, verbal abuse, where there's no respect. So you say the word says this, the word says that, the word says this, the word says, turn the other cheek, forgive 70 times. It's performative. Forgive 70 times 7. So the person does something wrong the first time, and or not wrong, but something out of line, disrespectful or whatever, and you forgive, and you do it again, you forgive. It's performative. It becomes performative. And why would you stay in a relationship like that? So and it's interesting because even when we were in religion, and that was over 16 years ago, for some reason we just, my husband and I, we just like each other. We just like each other and enjoy each other's company. So we really never had any, mindful of the word, scripture, God said. That was just never part of our makeup. We just know that we respect each other, and out of the respect, love is born, and we love, and not only love, we like each other. And so that works for us. You have to find what works for you. But when I say keep God out of your relationship, that's exactly what I mean. Keep all the performance out. There's so many marriages that are performative. They pretend to be happy. And there was a couple pastors on social media the other day, and they were sharing their story, and the wife said that how he told her, you are really not my type, but because I couldn't get this other person, I settled for you, and you're overweight, and you are too just a lot of things. And and the wife said, because the man, the pastor, he was a cheater, womanizer, cheater, and so forth. And she is saying that she used to iron his clothes so that he could go out on a date with the person he was cheating with, and so forth. So it was, I could not even follow it because it just became nonsense. But it's a true story. As a matter of fact, it was all over social media, and people had things to say about it, and so forth. And the wife says that she got on her knees and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed, and then until God restored. Now, the way they were sitting together, you could tell that there was no connection, because that, if you understand body language, you'll see that they really weren't connected. They were connected because of the word, because of what the Bible says, because of what the word says, because of what God says in their minds. And of course, they were religious people, and so that kind of relationship just doesn't work for us. Anything that you have to perform or pretend or to walk on eggshells, or to if you're on the phone and your husband comes in and they have to, oh, my husband is coming, or vice versa, or no, I can't talk. No, you don't want that. The only time I'm going to do that is if I am planning a surprise for my husband. But if I'm on the phone and he walks in, or vice versa, you just talk. Why? Because we share things with each other. We share things with each other. Now, if somebody, I do a lot of coaching, and sometimes, like I was coaching the other day, and this person told me some things that she experienced in her marriage, and it was just kind of ugly. And I chose not to share that with my husband. Certain things I don't share simply because they're just too gruesome, and it's just ugly. It's just, you just kind of like, what? And sometimes I choose not to share that. I don't, when I coach, it's like that's a private thing. Because why? Because that's somebody else's life. And if I share something, it would be what if, or to ask a question, what would you do, or what do you think about this, just to get his take from a man's standpoint. But my coaching, that's private, simply because it's somebody else's life that's involved, and he's not involved in that. He doesn't care about that anyway. But the point is that's the reason I said keep everyone out of your relationship, including God, and I mean that. Now, for those of you that say God is my everything and I follow the word and I follow that, that's fine. But do you know how many marriages have dissolved, ended in divorce? I know a lot at my church. At well, I don't go to church, but the churches I went to years ago, the pastor got divorced, got married, got divorced, got married, and then another church got pastor got divorced, and it just happens. Why? Because you think that keeping God and keeping the word and scripture in your marriage, that it's going to make it best. No, because you want to be authentic. You want to be yourself. You want to be free. That's why even with my evolution, I allow my husband the freedom to evolve on his own, and vice versa. I'm evolving on my own, and he's evolving on his own, and then we share. What about this? What about that? And we just share. But we all evolve at different pace, and I am focused on that simply because that's just where I am now in life. That's the season of my life, and I love it. He's got other things that may take priority, but at the same time, he's interested in knowing my growth, my evolution, and vice versa, because we talk about it all the time. See where we're at. So that's what I mean. That's what I mean with, keeping God out of your relationship. Now, that may resonate with some of you, and then it may not resonate with some of you. My whole thing is, I always share, the purpose of life is to flourish. It's pleasure. It's to have fun. Life is to be enjoyed. It's for you to be happy and joyful and content. It's that's the purpose of life. And because I think in those terms, then what happens to me are moments, experiences of joy, contentment, pleasure, peace, and all of that. Continuously flourishing. And I pay attention to that. And whatever is important to you, that's what you ought to do. This whole thing about being authentic, you call the shots. It's like living life on your own terms, becoming sovereign, self-governed, and not to be distracted by all the stuff that's happening externally. Know what's happening on the inside. And that's why it's important that you get to know who you are, get to know yourself. Get to know yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, and know how to regulate your thoughts. Know how to create a mindset for the things that you want. A mindset. Know how to create a mindset to get the things that you want. Because you can. But first, you have to understand your power, your ability, your power. And I'm telling you, for those of you that say, oh, I only trust God, or my strength comes from God, that same God would be saying, come on, you're on your own. In other words, you can do it. Do it. I've given you power. Do it. But that's not easy for some people. You know why? Because there's responsibility and there's accountability that comes with that. But then the benefit of it is that you not only does it take you to a place of truth, but it takes you to a place of knowing. You come out of a place of, well, I believe this, I believe that, because the moment you start believing in something, it is somebody else's rhetoric, it is somebody else's narrative. But when you come to a place of clarity and understanding, then you come into a place of truth. And that is the truth that sets you free. That's the truth that makes you free. It's fascinating, my friends. It is absolutely fascinating to know that you're a little time machine, that you can switch things up. And if you have any ailments, if you have any things in your, the other day, this finger here, this, and I don't know what it is, but it kind of hurt. It kind of hurt, and I decided that I didn't want it to hurt anymore. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be anything, but it hurt, and I just wondered. I wondered if I hit it against something or whatever. I don't remember that, but it kind of hurt, and I decided that I didn't want it to hurt anymore. And now it doesn't. Now you may say, well, oh yeah, that's just a little thing. Well, you know what? Look, if the finger hurts, it hurts. I don't want any kind of pain at all. None. If I can avoid it, I don't want any kind of pain. You may say, well, it's just a little headache, or it may just be a little thing. No, it doesn't matter. It means something is not right. It means something is not right. Inflammation, then what's causing it? Then what do I need to do? Is my body alkalized enough? Am I drinking enough cucumber lemon water? Am I, whatever it is, and you kind of, you kind of regroup and you try to fix it. Why? Because in my mind, it's established, it is set up. I know that I am well able. I'm able and I have the power. You have to know that, my friend. Don't just think about it. You have to know that. But it comes to a place, and I'm telling you, there's so many people that, like, one time I shared that on social media. I shared something to that effect, and this person became indignant. They said, well, they piggyback on my, well, it was a comment, and they said, not everyone should believe this, because that not everyone is at that place, and this doesn't happen to anyone. And I was going to rebuttal, but then I said, you know what, this is where this person is at, and I don't care. I knew what I shared, and if it resonates, great. If it doesn't, then it simply doesn't. That's on you. If it works for me, that's great. I am sharing this with you, hoping that you would take this information, massage it, reason, and come into a place of understanding of what works for you. Because what works for you may not work for me, and vice versa. But that it does work, it does work. You have the power. You just have to discover it. You just have to come into the knowledge of it. You have the power, you have the ability, you have the skill, you have the know how. You may simply need the understanding or the acknowledgement, because just like you may acknowledge that, you have diabetes, you have migraine, you have hypoglycemia, you have hypertension. The same way you acknowledge those things and they stay with you, you can switch that around by reprogramming your mind, becoming authentic, allowing your mind to be authentic. And what is that? That is programming your mind with the things that you do want, conditioning your mind with the things with the lifestyle that you do want, not the things you don't want. It's, I cannot I cannot stress that enough. It's not the things that you don't want. You program it with, because you are already, we already programmed with things that has set us back. There's so many things that we live on autopilot. We do things by default. We do things just because that's the social expectation, social construct, instead of becoming our original, our unique, functioning in our uniqueness, our unique self. We just do things by default. Somebody said the other day something like, if you don't have breakfast, you're more prone to depression. I was like, what the hell is that? That said that. People that don't eat breakfast, they're more prone to be depressed. And she said a whole bunch of other stuff. And I thought, it's like, where'd that come from? Because I don't have breakfast. What you call breakfast. I don't, this breakfast, lunch, dinner, that's not my makeup. I love fruit. So in the morning, mid-morning, close to noon, I have I may have two or three fruit: blueberries, apple, mango, cherries. We have a lot of fruit. We have a lot of fruit. And I will have some fruit. And that's it. In the morning, yes, I have a cup of coffee, because why? I enjoy a cup of coffee. Then I go walking and I walk for a long time, and then I come back and then I have fruit. I don't call that breakfast. I'm just having fruit. And then lunch, that's not something that I have. I don't have lunch. That's not part of my routine. I don't have, like yesterday, my husband said at night when he came home, "What did you eat today?" I said, "Well, I had a smoothie." When I make a smoothie, it's like it's like a big smoothie. And in it I had uh blueberries, papaya, and a banana, and mixed it with some protein powder, blah blah. That's and that holds me for the whole day. I had it like at, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's it. By what, 7 o'clock, I'm ready to fast. That's just me. Find what works for you. Don't this thing about and the pyramid. This amount of protein, this that the other. No, find what works for you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. That doesn't work for me. That may not work for you. Or if it does work for you, we are programmed for that. We are programmed, before you go to work, you have breakfast, then you have a lunch break for an hour, and you take your lunch, eat a meal, and then when you come home, you have another meal. I mean, does your body? I can't. That doesn't work for me. We are told so many things. Some women now talk about perimenopause and menopause, and we were programmed to think, well, when you go through these changes, that this is going to happen, 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 and I'm like, wow, I see that is something that I did not follow, and this about the night sweats and so forth. Some of it may be true, but it doesn't mean that it has to be. Do you know? This. It's called the blue zone. There are some older people. Some of them are centenarians, and there are like 7 countries which has it's called the blue zone. And these are people that are living way beyond 90 into the 100, and they are all healthy. They get up. And there's a blue zone in Costa Rica, in Italy, in Tokyo, in I think it's in California. There are like 7 countries which have the blue zone. And what it is, it's a community, it's a place, community with beautiful surroundings, nature, all nature driven, and it's inhabited by older people. Some are centenarians, and some are like in their late years. But these people, they get up, and they have such a healthy community, good relationships. They exercise, they eat well. I think most of the food they grow it themselves, and they just live a fruitful life. And it's interesting because the mindset, when you talk to these people, depending on where you go, is they are not thinking that they're in their last years or last days or whatever. That's not, they're expecting to get up the next day, to wake up the next day and go walking and having community relationship with their fellow members. It's a mindset. So in their minds, they're just living. They're just living, and they choose to live in a place where there is, nature and relationships, community, and so forth. But they're all healthy. I guess they didn't buy into the mindset of, as you get older, it's kind of like when you go to the doctor, and if you have any kind of ailment, what do they tell you? It's age-related diseases. And we buy into that. That is so, people buy into that. And I hear some of my friends, they will say, well, old age, it's you've got to get away from that. It all depends on what you want. I don't think in terms of age. I live and I enjoy living my life every day. Yes, of course, that sometimes there are changes. I mean, that's just it happens that way. But the more you can mitigate it, find whatever you need to do, and you just do that. I I just like, I don't like anything complicated like facial treatment and night cream. No, no, no. Just give me some baby oil, take off my makeup, and just make it simple. And that works for me. Drink a lot of cucumber lemon water, and that just allows your skin to radiate. It does. Now, again, that works for me. Look it up, and you will find what works for you, because there are a lot of other nutrients that do the same thing. So you have to find out what works for you, but it starts with the mindset. And the thing is that, what you know, in order to flourish in life, it's not just making money and getting rich. It's not about that. It's about being able, having the energy to execute, and you know your vibe being in alignment with your energy. It's the highest frequency that you will achieve when everything is in alignment, and you have control over that, keeping things in alignment with who you are, your true authentic self. It's fascinating, and you can do it. The thing is, you knowing that you can do it, and you have to relax, be curious about things, explore, you know set yourself up where you want to explore, and learn the truth about things, know what works for you, or if you're really interested in that, really interested in living an extraordinary life, because you see, we can live like everyone else, and just go through life, uh by default, living on autopilot, or we can create an extraordinary life for ourselves, in our relationships with our kids, with our partner, our spouse, with our families, with the people around us. And it doesn't mean you have to, go out and have a whole bunch of friends. You don't need a whole bunch of friends. You can have some acquaintances, and go out and have a good time with people, and come back. And the whole thing is you being able to get with yourself and be content with yourself. Know the truth about yourself, to know who you are. That's fascinating, my friend. That at this point, at this stage, I am talking to an audience that are adults, and it doesn't matter how adult you are. The point is that you reach a point where you have good understanding. In all you're getting, get understanding. Because once you understand what it means to live that way, consciously aware of who you are and the things that you can affect and control, and change, modify, and improve, and to keep yourself well, because that's the whole thing. You want to be well, and it starts with, there's no sense in making $1 million and not feeling well to be able to go out and enjoy it. No. So this whole journey of self discovery, it's not only discovering your mental acuity, but it's also discovering your the natural state of your physical being, so that you can work to align it, so that you can be authentic in your physical body as well, making sure that everything aligned with itself. And even if you are, if you've had some ailments where you've had to deal with it or whatever, where you're at right now, start from there. This woman, Yimo, the person that I talked about earlier, she couldn't walk. She was paralyzed, and she couldn't speak. But she knew, and I guess I don't know what motivated her. Well, she was motivated simply because she already knows this. But just the fact that in her mind, she's thinking she doesn't want anyone to raise her daughter. Remember, she gave birth, and in the middle of giving birth, something went wrong, and she was affected by it. and she knew she had to get well so that she could take care of her daughter, her baby. So she knew she had to get well. She didn't believe it, she just knew it. She gave herself, she gave the chip, she gave her mind no choice. You have no choice but to produce the right results. And she did. So can you. Whatever it is that ails you, whether it's your back, whether it's your knee, whether it's your ankle, whether it's your elbow, whether it's migraine, whether it's diabetes, whether it's hypertension, whatever it is, whether it's your lungs, whether, you have got the ability, you've got the skills, you've got the power to make a change. It's up to you. But if you're looking for results from the outside, if you've been praying for years and nothing happens, that's your answer right there. Nothing will happen. But once you come to the knowledge and the understanding that you can, then you can make that change. And change in your body and change in your whole system so that you can flourish physically, emotionally, and mentally. You can do it. Why? Because you've got what it takes. And now you don't have an excuse. Why? Because you've listened to this whole show till now, and you know the truth. And that is the truth, my friend, that's going to set you free. I'm going to leave you with that, my friend. I'm going to leave you with that to let you know that you've got the power. Every Thursday, right here, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have a date. We have a date. And you can join me at 2 p.m. Or if you miss it, you can check out the streams on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. 24/7. It streams on those sites. So you can pick it up 24/7 and watch the show. In the meantime, I'm going to say au revoir. You still have a day before the weekend. I trust you have a fantastic weekend. As usual, we always have plans because we like to do fun stuff. And last week it was fun because we went to the Rangers game. My husband called and said, this was a couple weeks early. He said, I got tickets for the Rangers game on, whatever date, the 15th, whatever. And I said, I only go to winning games. He said, I promise you. So we went Sunday. It was fantastic. And they won. So that was a good thing. Anyway, I'm going to say ta-ta. I'm going to say au revoir. I'm going to say hasta luego, a tutelou, ciao. And I will see you next week, same time, same channel, amigo. Hasta la vista.